Hi everybody, my name is Nitin Raj. I'm head of marketing for Fairportal India Private Limited, and today we are at Think Talk at Imiti Online 22nd edition to discuss three areas in marketing: purpose, personalization, and performance. And I have with me Sandeep Shukla, head marketing Indian Global Operations Jaguar Group, and I have Anshul Punhani, chief marketing officer APAC and Middle East Monster.com.
Thanks, Nitin. Thanks for this great opportunity to have a discussion on this such an interesting topic. Uh, See, I think if the very first point, irrespective of the media vehicle, there has to be a purpose, and if I just draw back some learnings from the industry which I am operating in, you know, it's a very brick and mortar industry, which is bathroom and lighting products, where touch and feel is very, very critical. And what we have seen is that there is a huge transition from reaching out to customer from a traditional way of marketing, which is your typical advertising, which is which is ATLs and BTLs of the world. But today, with the digital bit, you have a huge opportunity to really educate customer, and especially in a category which is very B2B and having a move towards B2C, and when a customer needs a lot of empowerment, I think education is definitely makes a huge difference. Generally, in a traditional media, you have a limitation in terms of time, limitation in terms of cost, reach. But this is, in the context of digital, I'm talking about. This is becoming a huge game changer.
So has digital impacted your current business, how it has transitioned from the 90s to 2000 and now?
I certainly, like example, I tell you how today reaching out to customer, the geofencing. Today, we are in more than 45 countries. And I can, sitting here in India, can control my marketing efforts. So if I have to reach in Ras Al Khaimah in UAE, I can geofence in that market and can reach out to Emiratis, because I know Emiratis are the one who's investing in the home, not Indian diaspora, because they have to come back sooner or later. These are the guys who have to invest. So this was very difficult for traditional marketing.
And what about you? Has your industry changed?
So I come from industry planning, from software, durables, technology, mobile, all these experiences in the last few years. What I have seen as a difference is that what we are in today's time is one of the best and one of the worst. Best because first we have a great technology to support us. All the processes have a technology intervention today, because the diaspora itself is data creation. By 2020, actually, it's assumed that 1.7 MB of data is going to be created per person across the globe. The humongous data itself is a great opportunity, because that itself is pivotal to most of the decisions at marketing. We were always about segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and this data creation itself is telling us something more, which is behavior. So when we think of the best times, this is technology which is helping us. But why worse? Because of this reasons of deep clutter. The surround, the noise, the creator itself has become the consumer. So the information is being created by the consumer himself. And this thing of knowledge being used, education being used, has been consumed. So if I were to say, because teachers are not the only source of knowledge today, and they are not the main source of knowledge, that is most important, because there is something which is more different. So when I see at our industry or marketing per se, and we handle a lot of data, and today the normal rules of segmentation do not deploy here. When I want to do a particular research, it has to be segmented, clustered, and sliced and diced so much that a given cluster may not be just more than few millions. So when that data points are so high, I really need to deploy that kind of an engine which can be a balance between technology. And at the same time, when it comes as a marketeer, where there is a human intervention involved, which is from the ideation and solution creation, ideas need to come from a team which is ideating around the solution. So as a marketing message creation, the creativity has to be built from there. So this balance between tech and human is becoming very clear in the marketing diaspora. Most of the pushes are around getting more ROI from marketing, because in the internet space that we are in, real estate on the internet itself has become important. It has become that if you are a publisher, then there is a real estate, and that real estate should be used to give you an ROI. That's what most of the e-com engines are today. If you look at the way they are segmenting, clustering, and then building their real estate to sell, and also sell the next. It's all behavior measurement, and then aligning it with the way the people will consume that message of yours. So a lot of storytelling, that prehistoric way of marketing is not going away.
But I think good that you the tech with a touch.
Right.
Yeah, it's very, very important. There is an apparent glamour when any new medium comes in. If technology is for me, for everybody for that matter.
Right.
So, and there's so much of a clutter. If the content doesn't have virality, then it's a pain. If I'm launching my product and I'm just posting it mindlessly, you think people wanna know? So I think somewhere, human touch, like example in our category, touch and feel is very important.
Right.
How much there is a point to which technology takes things. There has to be, at least in Indian context, and within India, India within, there's hundreds of India. So I think it's a very great point. I think, a whole bit of touch and technology goes hand in hand. And, with the digital available so easy, reaching out so easy, if you don't create a value content, which really helps me rather telling your agenda, we will be into the same circle that, what happened today with newspapers. Every second day, one magazine is dying. One newspaper is shutting shop. I've just said DNA has shut shop.
2 days
newspaper, magazines are dying left, right, center. Because somewhere, there was no content focus there.
So the way I look at it is, one of the key areas which hasn't changed for marketing is the job which needs to be defined for the customer. If I give an example of Google, a lot of people, if I ask, what do you think Google is? They'll say search engine, but it's about finding information. So when they created,
discovery.
Yeah, it's discovery. Or if we talk about eBay, a lot of people say it's auction, but it was created for personal items. So as the marketing gets cluttered, so if I have to take a retail example like a baking soda, if I define the job clearly, baking soda for cat litter, baking soda for fridge, so that audience size is predefined. So a lot of people define the purpose based on product, whereas it should be job based. So a lot of entrepreneurs who are building all these shops, one of the things that they forget is the value of the content and the value proposition that needs to be showcased out of that product. So 30,000 products are launched every year, and 95% don't even see the market because they're built as products, but the job is never defined.
See, the consumption is changing across, and the way people are consuming, it can be a small and short game, both. You're right that the job that the message or the marketing needs to perform is not changing, but the way we are doing it. Because see, I remember in heydays of when I was in advertising and you were also in advertising, our message used to finish in 30 seconds. The mandate used to be 30 seconds. Today, the mandate is not that. Today, the mandate can be 6 minutes to 11 minutes of storytelling. Experiential way of really making the stories work. Small stories, big stories, both. And someone like marketers like us who come from a traditional to new age, I think the most valuable lesson that we have is that at a given instant, storytelling is not changing. The long and short of it is changing. There is the way you are experiencing, the way you are telling, because the memories that you're creating with stories don't leave easily. And understand that today also the relationships between a brand, marketer and a product is still there, like a customer brand. But what is happening is that today I have individual personalized relationships. With each consumer, I know what he's doing, what he's buying, what he's behaving in, and so I can add more to that relationship to gain his trust and maintain it with trust. So any story which really hits him with purpose, as we started, one of the points that you picked up was purpose. purposeful stories, or anything to do which can create an action or an impact, is what marketers should do today.
And it's such a valid point today. I remember, give you a small analogy. We have this camera rolls. There's 36 shots were there.
Right.
So sparingly every shot was used. Today you go in on holiday, you click some 1,000 pictures, 2,000, because
Right.
there's no 36.
Right.
So moment you have a content and the media available sparing, openly, somewhere we use it just so freely. And in that you create such a e-junk. And then, then finding the relevance there.
Relevance, you're right.
Yeah. So,
Finding the
it's
relevance
very
is-
important, which you're saying job further, relevance, purpose. I think the fundamentals, I don't see change of marketing, reaching out to customer, is that what you stand for and what he actually wants. In today, you have a limited 24 hours in a wallet. You have been, completely divided with so many activities around. As a marketer, can I reach out to you and make your life easy rather than making it complex?
So to add on that, I'll give you an example on the storytelling. What I've noticed is, so I was running a campaign, and what I found out was when I had written 3 words, I was getting excellent click-through rate. The moment it went from 3 words to 6 words, the CTR started dropping. So the attention span of user
Is a big
has gone
problem.
so down that anything more than 3 words was not performing for me.
Yes, so this is very interesting. I mean, the way TV formats or film formats, the short films are moved to shorter, it's quite relatable that, a 3 words, meaningful 3 words will make more sense than a 6 word being little less meaningful. So this is where you come to the individualistic, personalized, customized message, and that's why the whole point of that traditional storytelling will not change. The way you are saying, the way you are talking, that's what is the age today, because span of attention is lost. Well, there is so many things to do in that 24-hour bandwidth. The way millennials are and the way the Gen Z are coming, the whole restlessness and span of sticking to one point is very difficult. So the measures of marketers have also changed. I mean, look at the measurements that we are running around. Like a typical CMO, you would measure a brand score and do away with it, or you can measure like the CTR and click-through rates. But nowadays, the measures of marketing is around growth. They are around your brand per se, and around the customer promoter score as the NPS. Because if you look at the net promoter score, that's become a critical mandate for marketers. The growth parameter on how you can add automation to really grow the ROI from your current process, and brand per se, how you can make meaningful stories. So when these 3 mandates are also being coming, and it's also got to do with the audiences, I think marketers' role is becoming more and more driven towards telling meaningful stories in shorter time and building connections which the customers will really trust and be loyal to.
What about the matrix that your company follows? So digital, I understand, but in your case, as you move to digital, how the matrix are changing in your industry?
See, I won't say that we are completely moved away from traditional advertising. India is the only country wherein the advertising, we make films on bathroom products and lighting products. If you go Europe, you go to Southeast Asia, they make product films, which is more education. India, there was a challenge inherently that bathroom was seen in more a functional space. So if I have to move from a functional to aspirational, I have to make show it in that light. Then you have to go to 70 mm, you have to have a lot of gloss and all that. So you have, that remains, because still, if you see the penetration of lifestyle bathroom, is still miles to go. Like example, there are 4 areas in bathroom, which is shower area, basin area, your WC area, and a wellness area. Now the bathtubs and whirlpools are getting into the space. Now that bit of advertising will continue to grow, which is advertising, which is your ATLs and BTLs. What we are reaching out through digital is, ensuring that customer is aware of my product, because that's a big challenge. So like in my category, bathroom and lighting, you want to have a great bathroom, but you don't know where to start the journey from. So what the digital mandate we have in the company for the brand is twofold. A, the brand comprehension. As much as possible, you can educate, because there is no limitation as such, whether you go on web or whether you go on any social platform for that matter. So education is a brand comprehension is one way. Like we generate almost 500,000 footfall on a website on a yearly basis. For a category like bathroom products, 500,000 is a huge number. So what we're generating is, like, moment you come to my website, we ask a simple pop-up. Hey, you're interested in bathroom, renovating your home? Yes. How many bathrooms you have? So basis AI, we are asking some simple questions. And basis some questions, we generate a BOQ for him and a possible 2D layout for him. And I know his IP address, so I'm saying which is the closest authorized dealer. Now, armed with the layout, armed with the dealer information and the BOQ, which is bill of quantity, he makes a very meaningful conversation with the retailer. Cut to a scenario when this is what not there. A conversation, I want to have a good bathroom. So the dealer asks him, what you want? He said, I don't know what I want. I just want a final product. So this is where, we are taking the conversation to the next level.
This category is very interesting. See, this is a category where consumer actually wants lifestyle, and because he spends good amount of time there. Because of the bathroom itself, most of the people have even carried their books inside, right? So it's a time where, and people have not reacted to changing it per se from a lifestyle perspective. The times today is to really be also to be able to differentiate the space from brand to brand. As a proposition, if I look at Jaguar in your case and the others, the differentiation per se is a visibility thing. So when it comes to marketeers, it's about the relevance of the category and also the way you are actually going to talk to me, which you're rightly saying, that bill of quantity and your bot, which is actually doing your AI work. I think the differentiation value that you will create over the others, that he will gain your confidence and trust with, is most important. So that traditional part is still there.
Like example, I'll tell you, one of the success of Jaguar in India, we almost have a 60% market share. It's like a dream for any brand. It's like practically a world war. You name a brand is present in India, to hold a 60% market share, we remain to fundamentals. That in this category, customer needs hand-holding. You're doing up your home, it's like a once in a lifetime thing. The guy is at lost. He's at some kind of he has an information deficit. So we opened orientation centers across country, wherein the purpose is only to educate. There's no pressure to buy. You simply come and I'll make you learn and educate. Now I have a 22 orientations and tell me how many I can open. So we're taking the same format digitally now. But digitally, I can go to any nook and corner of the country. So he'll ask the same similar question. So I think what Anshul is saying, that fundamentals are not changing. They remain the same, is that you have to adapt. I cannot run the same creative for my in-store graphics versus in social media. Now that cut and paste is horrible work. You have to use the medium and the content in that context. So I think we all are agreeing to this fact. The fundamentals remains the same. Is that medium has its own challenges, and if you can cope up it, I think then digital is a great asset.
And for marketer, the timing is right.
Yeah.
Right now, the timings, like I just said, is best because the technology is facilitating real-time learnings. Real-time conversations, real-time engagement, and if you can do away with the fakes of the world which are there can be fake CTRs, there can be fake CPCs which is there. If you do away with that kind of a fence around and you are actually focusing on meaningful engagements, I think marketers are at a great time for their automated tools to really tell them what the customer wants and engage with them for a trust and meaningful conversations. So this is a great...
I'll tell you a small thing, typically any sample size for consumer research is what, 3,000, 4,000,
Right.
5,000. With the Google Trends, last year I took a data of 17 lakh people visiting my website and spending about it more than 3 minutes. That's a 17 lakhs is a huge data. And out of which 80% came on the website through mobile phones. Out of this 80%, almost 90% were having an iPhone. Now, for me, research is very clear. My customer is aspirational, HNI. For that, imagine the kind of money I have to spend in the research, and that to be very piddly sample size, 3,000-4,000. With the Google Trend analytics, which is on the web, I know what is his media habits, what all he's a gardening person. He's more of a iPhone, iOS customer, So this kind of information is a data, is a tremendous, and how as a marketer we can use that for a strategy is complete in hand. But digital that way paves a huge information.
So in the travel space where I come from, we use a similar fundamental which we call the triple E, which is educate, entertain, earn. So follow the same fundamental. Then comes the big data, where we have like over 1 million visits a day. So can go to 5 million, 10 million also. Tons of data. Now, what we do in terms of personalization is so our company is completely data driven. All decisions are data driven. We do dynamic promotions and dynamic personalizations. So what happens is the customer pattern is defined. So, for example, somebody searched for Tuesday to Wednesday for a flight ticket, and somebody is searching from a Friday to a Monday. So we know the one who's searching in the weekday is a business traveler, whereas somebody who's searching over the weekend is probably a vacation type of traveler. And we also see the number of passengers, etc. We're able to personalize, so we define the patterns of what the patterns are. So in terms of numbers, what we've noted is a customer from New York converts after 3 clicks. A customer from Montana converts after 27 clicks. Same way, if I talk about India Matrix, we were doing a campaign. We did an offline campaign and a digital campaign. So in India, offline still works. We were able to acquire a customer for 20 rupees through full page ad, while digitally we were acquiring for 25 rupees. So new customer growth, that's why you see Flipkart and Amazon still spending tons of money on the offline compared to the digital one. The second point I want to make on the personalization is the value that is offered to the customer. So one of the lessons I've learned is in e-commerce world, when site says 70% off, it brings a lot of customers, but conversion rate falls. And as you are aware, numbers are everything. If we say flat 40% off and we have 1,000 products, on every product there's 40% off, that has a better experience and more customers convert. So that's where the
business of deals.
Yeah.
That's what. See, but personalization is becoming by the day even more critical. I think the digital is offering you that kind of a behavior to engaging with brands with which you may not like to even publicly engage, or people in, at least in the region that we are in, have a little bit of aversion to really.
So similarly in our space, we also run a lot of surveys. So when people come up to our website, half of them sometimes are just browsing through there in the research phase. So that's where the questions come up to assist them. So for example, a user is from Delhi, and we would be able to recommend that user what should be the next destination they should pick based on their past behavior. So it's just like, for example, you see Netflix or Amazon Prime, where it's all on-demand basis. It's large data sets and it's all personalized. Or if you've used Uber, it's on-demand taxi. So it's on-demand recommendation. They're basically you're demanding the content yourself. Same is how our travel industry is changing. So I'm pretty glad to hear that you're also moving in that direction.
Yes.
In the business that we are in, personalization was from day one. You've been using us for job alerts. So you registered with your profile. So I got to know that limited portion about you and what you want in future. So the job match is the business that we are in. So when we looked at how we can make it better, so what the mandate was also that now today the consumer likes to be discovered. They don't like to really find or search on their own. So we have to really change the tables and say that discovered is the path for even the matching of the jobs.
You make a very valid point, because what I've noticed is I was reading an article where Google states that 50% plus customers are doing the search, but they're not clicking because they find the information, they go away.
Right. So this thing of discovery as a build has come in, and it's also got to do with the way the societal things are changing. The way the millennials and Gen Zs are influencing a lot of our decisions, and we are actually, when you look at marketers per se, everybody is talking about that millennial Gen Z reach. There isn't a single brand who would say, I would not want to reach to it. The way they are studying them is also leading to this only point, that their actions are at their desirous times, at their desirous need, and that is about discovery and being discovered. If you want to talk to me, find me.
So I'll give you an example on that. So when we run email campaigns, we send them at specific times when the customer is opening those emails.
Right.
Same way our notifications.
This is automation. This
Yeah,
is part
through-
of the intelligence MarTech, because now the tools give you that sense. Even
Absolutely.
the joblets, because when we looked at joblets, best time to send is between 11 and 3. And we know that, okay, first thing in the morning you'll access, so there is a mini job alert to go in the morning.
So in fact, LinkedIn introduced a product where you're able to advertise on LinkedIn. Your post will come on top when
Right.
that person logs in.
Right,
So it's
yes.
personalized
Promoted.
the promoted content, personalized to all the target audience. So they will ensure your content is showcased to
As a message.
as a message to
As
all
a
of them.
message. It comes on the LinkedIn. See, we are also depending on what the consumer is using, right? And this is where the opportunity and the best times. Like, I'm coming back to the same best time, because the fact that it has provided great opportunities for a creative mind, which marketeers hold as a mandate with a thing in mind to really that I need to grow business as well as my brand equity. So they can do multiple things with the help of tools and technology. With this evolving ecosystem, to know the person a little more is becoming critical, and that's, be it an HR process or be it a marketing process, knowing him little more and building a relationship is become critical. Now, if I've known you more and you are a great person for my cultural DNA, as well as you are a great performer, you are fitting in my whole agenda, I would like to really brand myself to you now. So the next part is where companies are building employer branding to those clusters. Come and join us because of this.
The knowing is, very interesting. When we launch, we have a retail setup called Jaguar World. So with their large format retail stores, where we put the entire brand display in a very experiential format. So when we opened in Dubai on Sheikh Zayed Road, so we realized that there is Emiratis have a fetish for gold. So our maximum hit was on the color sites. What are the color options available, and which has led us to create a whole range on gold. And ensuring that that I can reach out to them, in advance. So somehow that flexibility you don't have in any other medium for that matter. So I think knowing your customer bit, with the Google Trends, your mapping analytics, you can really know your customer, what people in West behaves as compared to East. They're very value conscious people, if I say East side of the India. So I think the products, the offerings, I think this is where, I think if for any marketer is an edge, because today technology is available at this, the cost, which is definitely very competitive. So knowing is, I think your customer is the, is the ultimate game. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Would the customer be willing to pay more for the experience or the value?
I would say it's a very holistic. I won't say, because at the end of the day, if you see in India, the shopping, how much is the e-commerce and or digital is there? Shopping is like a therapy. I'm going out and I'm experiencing the whole bit of it. The same experience today is on web also. So the way your web is designed, the way, so I think experience and values to me is very intermingled that way. A value in what context? Value, it could be, for me, is just not a price. Value could be that you saved my time. Value could be that the offering has been exceptionally very different from the competition.
Value could be a statement in your case. A statement. I'm making a statement by having a luxurious setup in my bathroom, right?
What about your industry? Does experience matter more?
Experience matters more. The value is later because of the fact that he would get a job and then job related, because I'm in a business of first his experience in the discovery and match. Once his discovery and match is home, and if the relevancy is high, if the relevancy of that match is high and he's really getting in terms of the job that he really wants, that's the value generated at a later stage.
Well, in my industry, it's both. Experience has to be
yeah,
top notch,
right.
and there has to be value. So we have a brand called Cheapo Air, and our favorite keyword is cheap flights. So even in recession, people search that
All the time.
all the time.
You can't take value from Indians out. We are very, very value conscious.
The pan region, it doesn't matter.
This is for US.
This is all, his portal is US centric. I think over there this value is little more valued.
But I strongly believe, if the price is the ultimate game, then if you go, how low one can go. Eventually, it's all about, the experience you give him with the product or services for that matter. So I think ideal game is that, obviously in some cases experience first, value later, somewhere it starts in hand together. But I think value should not be only be constituted with the factor of offering a discount or price in the product game.
So that's what I think when he started off, I wanted to say that it's not about the experience value per se. There is a segment who will need a value deal in his category. That's why you have a line which is going towards the value customer who's wanting feature rich, the name association, and still having a quality stuff, because that's where and the other is the one who will pay an extra bucket money for the experience of having a Jaguar in his bathrooms. So his setup, the way his design is, the luxury statement that he makes. So in that, the experience will play a major role, whereas the other segment, the value will drive the experience.
So my key question to both of you is the numbers. So end of the day, we're working for a company and they all are chasing numbers. How does that impact your marketing?
In plenty. For us, we are a service, and dichotomy is that I make money from B2B, I market to B2C. And yes, B2B engagements and relationship builds are there. So always the crunch will be on ROI, and the numbers will be on delivery of number of customers on my base and them renewing it. So marketing has to be rigored. Sometimes you have to really pick up a plan which is $0 and keep doing stuff around it, which is in the best, because there is a database you hold and you could database market. And the cost that you would incur is time, creative, and the server space, and the kind of communication you would do, and the follow-up, which is the effort. Effort is equal to that cost. So it's a rigorous exercise all the time, 24/7, to really drive the revenue engines, drive the P&L, and ensuring that you as a cost line do not shout.
What about you?
See, digital online should not be, it's like a free for all, free lunch, easy to communicate, so available for all. It's not like that. There has to be a think tank which is constantly thinking on the proposition and content. A good quality content is very, very important. So there will be investment in content. How great your content has a virality, you have to push it to a certain level, then it takes it off. So I have a great, say, a product information, and I have made a great film on the product, and initially I have to pump in some money. So, then only if it has a meat, then it'll go then it goes viral. And Third thing is like in digital, it has to be a thought through plan. You can't just go, from one activity to another activity. So if my suggestion, or in my case, it's a full game plan. So it's like any other media vehicle, digital also has to have a same plan. What digital expectations obviously is that is the reaching out is much easier, it's faster, cost effective, is there, but it's not something which is in your case it can happen. It's not a $0 for me. I have to make an investment. I have to have a right talent within the team. I can't completely also outsource my digital to an digital agency. I have to have a people who understand digital internally. We create internal stakeholders. Like for example, if I create any content today, and I have more than 800 sales guys on the field, and everybody just shares my content. You're talking about millions we can just create internally. So that kind of education, you need somebody in a company which can make people say, rather liking my page, liking is fine, but reshare it, kind of a thing. So within the company education, then you have to write talent which interacts with agencies. You need to have a proper budget. You need to have a proper team who creates good quality content, right editing. Some basics of advertising will kick in there itself. Yes, but from the ROI point of view, that there's a mandate which is has come out. Obviously, the budgets, okay, since the digital is taking off, bring down your ATL budgets down. So it's like a double-edged sword. So if I make digital go up, I say, okay, so obviously that it's much more cost-effective. Reaching out is much easier, but it has to be a thought-through plan.
So strategy has to remain.
Has to be there, and
without that, it can't work.
Yeah, it has to be a sustained. You can't have just peaks and valleys.
So you don't have a peaks and troughs.
Yeah, you have to have plan.
In my case, it's 95% digital, 5% offline, and it's 100% ROI driven. Right. Even the offline piece is related to the ROI. So what we do is we divide it on a monthly basis. So if we're going to spend like $10 million on an ad campaign, we'll divide it over a period of time, which should be associated to the number of tickets we're selling.
You're right, because that's where you're, and whenever some things which are linked with digital in plenty, the way traditionally people have thought of digital has also been an ROI based. We agencies, marketers have propagated the fact, the CPC, the CPR, the cost per acquisition per se, because that's the terminology, and we are putting a metrics on marketing, and we're saying that okay, this is a marketing, because all the other things in your business taxonomy have a spec, and in this case this is one where the metrics are creating that void, right? So that gives a benefit for someone in a marketing space and agency space to confidently stand up and say, I got you this, and conversions are the game. So in our business, which is yours and mine, most will be conversion driven. And then obviously there is a closure which you will put in to say that okay, this is brand, no voice, this is the share of voice driven, and that balancing act has to be there, because it can't be that you just maybe in the case that you just digital works, but in our case also we have to really do the balancing act of digital and some part of non-digital stuff, which is offline engagements, because at offline engagement standpoints you have to build closer trust relationships. You would get into the users. In our case, like for example B2B, you have to get closer to the recruiters. You have to get to the space that's looking for talent, the sourcing team. So you have to get really engaged with them so that they are hand-holded to the extent of usage, and more usage is there. At the same point, at a B2C level, sometimes television in troughs or peaks work in our business, and does the full balancing justice to the marketing function.
Also, typically what happens whenever any new industry or a media vehicle picks up, it always like in this, what he's saying that, CPC cost, at times it become a disservice for the vertical or new channel itself. Because obviously when it comes to booking movie tickets or a hotel, bang on 100% ROI, But in my category, if I go by that yardstick, I probably will kill this entire domain before it starts, because for me, the primary agenda is creating awareness. yes, ROI will happen. But if my complete campaign is around ROI, which is hard numbers calculation, becomes a tricky one. So I think somewhere a balancing act. To what extent, because then your customers also have to completely, because today, if you see the home building age, if you see in our parents' time, when you retire with a fund, you build your home. So typically home age was around 50 when you do up your home and finally construct. That has come to now probably 30s, 35. Builders are doing 70% of the job. You just start living in from day one. But there is a big chunk still left, which are making house in 40s and 50s. Now these guys are not so net savvy. You can't neglect them. So somewhere I think millennials, younger audience, you can reach out to them, awareness. At the same time, like you can have the traditional advertising, which is aspirational. You have to build a category which is more lifestyle. And this is the whole purpose of Jaguar in communication, is that we educating people and building a more of a lifestyle. This is where people will change the new habits. So I think the balancing act is there. And but yes, reaching out through digital is obviously making a job much easier in terms of speed, delivery, faster.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think
you.
we'll
Pleasure.
end it over here.
Pleasure. It was good fun.
Yep, same here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.